Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into drug discovery and development.
Yeah.
It's a really crucial area for, well, I guess anyone in the pharma and biotech,
Yeah, exactly.
and of course, the VCs that fund them.
Absolutely.
So today, we're going to be looking at both the traditional ways of doing things and sort of the, the cutting-edge trends that are kind of shaping the future of how new medicines are discovered.
Right.
And we're basing this deep dive on an academic review article
Okay.
that really kind of breaks down all the different approaches to drug discovery.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think it makes sense to sort of start at the beginning
Sure.
with the traditional path, how new drugs have been developed for decades.
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
So can you just sort of paint a picture for us of like what that timeline actually looks like,
Yeah, so the traditional drug development timeline is, it's really a long road.
Yeah.
It takes on average about 10 to 15 years
Wow.
to bring a new drug to market.
That's a huge commitment.
Yeah.
And for a company to even, start down that path.
No, I
And I
think-
imagine the cost is pretty significant too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The average cost can exceed $2 billion.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's really a high risk, high reward kind of situation.
Yeah, exactly. High risk, high reward, and this lengthy timeline
Yeah.
and huge price tag.
Yeah.
They're major pain points for the
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can see how that would be very challenging. Okay, so I guess shifting gears a little bit, it's interesting to think about the history of medicine and how, ancient civilizations used to rely on medicinal plants and things like that.
Yeah, it is fascinating how
Yeah.
they made those discoveries. But today we face the challenge of purifying and characterizing those compounds,
Right.
which can be quite difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine that it would be hard to know, which specific molecules are responsible for the therapeutic effect.
Right.
Yeah. But it's interesting that even with all the technology that we have today, something like half of all new drugs still originate from natural sources.
That's right. And actually, we're seeing a renewed interest in natural products.
Really?
Yeah. It's partly driven by, I would say, the limitations that we're seeing with other methods,
Yeah.
particularly for diseases like metabolic disorders,
Yeah.
where progress has been slow.
Right.
And so, I think this could be a huge opportunity for companies and investors
That's
looking
right.
for new avenues for innovation and growth.
Yeah, especially those who are willing to, kind of go back to those traditional sources and see, what might have been overlooked in the past.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess now let's shift gears again and talk about synthetics. So
Yeah.
the ability to synthesize small molecules
Yeah.
kind of came on the scene, and that was like a real game changer.
It allowed scientists to create, stabilize, and characterize compounds much more easily.
Right. So it's no longer like you're sort of at the mercy of, what nature provides.
Exactly.
We can actually start to design molecules,
Yeah.
in the lab.
Right.
And then I guess high throughput screening, or HTS, kind of came along. And that was like
Yeah.
another revolution in the speed at which you could test drugs.
Absolutely. HTS allows us to rapidly screen thousands of molecules
Wow.
against a specific target.
Yeah.
So it significantly accelerates the early stage of drug discovery.
Right.
Yeah.
But I've read that even with HTS, small molecule drugs only seem to be able to target like a tiny fraction of the proteins in the human genome,
Right.
like something like 207 proteins out of thousands.
Right. Yeah, that is significant.
Yeah.
And it may be due to our focus on drug-like structures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this raises an important question. Are we overlooking potential targets because of this narrow focus?
Yeah, and I guess that kind of deuterated drug CAD.
So-
CAD is a powerful tool
Yeah.
that's helping us overcome some of those limitations.
Okay.
It leverages technology to accelerate the discovery process and cut costs. There are two main approaches, structure-based and ligand-based design.
So with structure-based design, you're basically trying to design a molecule that fits a specific target protein, like a lock and key.
Exactly.
And then with ligand-based design, it's more like you're looking at existing molecules that bind to that target
Right.
and trying to create variations on
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
it. Okay.
And CAD isn't just about finding that perfect fit, though.
Okay.
It can also predict crucial factors like AD-MET.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's absorption, distribution,
Yeah.
metabolism, excretion, and toxicity.
Exactly.
All those things.
Yeah, so that's crucial information for pharma executives and investors, because
Absolutely.
if you can predict those things early on,
Right.
then you can potentially avoid a lot of costly failures down the road.
Yeah. And I guess one of the really exciting aspects of CAD is its potential for drug repurposing.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So that's basically taking an existing drug that's already proven safe for one condition
Yeah.
and then finding new application for it.
Right.
It's kind of like finding a hidden treasure, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you've already got this thing that's approved and it's safe, and now you're finding a whole new use for it.
Yeah, like Viagra,
Right.
initially developed for hypertension,
Yeah.
but now, it's known for something else entirely.
Exactly. That's a classic example.
Yeah, and there are others like the anti-diabetic drug metformin,
Oh, right.
which is now being used to treat polycystic polycystic ovary syndrome.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about small molecules. We've talked about harnessing the power of computers.
Right.
But what about biologics?
Yeah.
Because they seem to be gaining a lot of traction in the pharmaceutical world.
Biologics are a rapidly growing class of therapies,
Yeah.
and they're making a real impact. In fact, they now account for over 25% of the market,
Wow.
with sales exceeding $232 billion.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So what is it about biologics that makes them so special?
Well, biologics have the ability to target areas that were previously considered undruggable with traditional small molecules.
Interesting.
They're opening up a whole new world possibility.
So can you give us an example how biologics are kind of expanding that, the so-called druggable genome?
Sure. Stabilized peptide therapeutics are a prime example.
Oh.
They're unlocking new potential by targeting a wider range of proteins.
Okay, so it sounds like biologics are kind of a game changer in a way.
Yeah.
But I imagine there are also challenges that come with them, right?
Sure.
Because, I mean, they're often large and complex molecules.
You're right. They do come with certain hurdles.
Yeah.
They can be expensive to produce and require special handling.
Right.
But advancements in biotechnology are constantly improving production effectiveness and affordability.
Okay, so it sounds like a balancing act, but the potential benefits are huge.
Yeah.
And speaking of overcoming challenges, I kind of want to circle back to drug repurposing for a minute.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a real beacon of hope in the industry where development can be so slow and costly.
Drug repurposing is definitely gaining momentum, and for good reason.
Yeah.
It offers a faster path to potentially life-saving treatments,
Right.
and it can happen at any state of development.
Yeah, it's like taking what we already know and looking at it from a fresh perspective.
Right.
Like a scientific plot twist.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
But while it's scientifically exciting,
Yeah.
we need to be mindful of the intellectual property challenges that can arise with repurposing.
Yeah.
This can sometimes make it less commercially attractive.
Yeah, so there are those scientific considerations, and then there are also the business considerations that you have to kind of weigh.
Right.
Okay, so I guess looking ahead now, what are some of the trends that you think will shape the future of drug discovery?
I believe that over the next decade, we'll see emerging technologies like artificial intelligence revolutionize drug discovery.
AI, that sounds incredibly promising.
Yeah.
So could AI actually help us find new drugs faster and potentially avoid those late-stage failures that we were talking about?
That's precisely the hope. AI has the potential to analyze vast amounts of data,
Wow.
identifying promised targets and predicting which molecules are most likely to success.
So it's like having a superpowered research assistant
Exactly.
working tirelessly behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, wow.
It truly is a fascinating frontier, and I'm especially intrigued by the idea of using AI to personalize drug design.
Oh, wow.
Imagine a future where treatments are tailored to your specific genetic makeup and the unique characteristics of your disease.
Yeah, that sounds almost like science fiction.
I know, right?
But I guess that's how many breakthroughs begin as ideas that seem impossible at first.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess just to kind of recap for a minute, we started with the traditional drug development process,
Yeah.
which is a very long and expensive road.
Right.
And we talked about how natural sources, while still important, have been somewhat overshadowed by the rise of small molecule synthesis and HTS.
Right.
But even with those advances, we're still limited by the relatively small number of proteins that those small molecules can target,
Exactly.
which is why there's so much excitement around CAT
Yeah.
and its potential to kind of expand that druggable genome, speed up the process, and minimize those costly late-stage failures.
Absolutely.
And of course, we can't forget about biologics,
Right.
which are making incredible strides in targeting those previously undruggable areas.
Yeah. They're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Oh, it's really exciting.
It is.
With all these different approaches, is there one that stands out to you as the most promising for the future?
That's a tough question.
Yeah.
Each approach has its strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
The best choice often depends on the specific target.
So it's more like having a toolbox
Yeah.
with, researchers choosing the right tool for each specific job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as technology continues to evolve, we'll likely see even more innovative tools added to that toolbox.
Right, so it's constantly evolving.
It is.
Yeah, okay. So speaking of tools, I'm still curious to hear more about how AI is being used in drug discovery.
Okay, yeah,
Like, are there concrete examples of how it's already making a difference right now?
absolutely. One area where AI is already proving invaluable is in target identification.
Okay.
By analyzing massive data sets of genomic information, clinical trial data, and scientific literature, AI algorithms can pinpoint promising targets that traditional methods might miss.
So it's like having this brilliant detective
Yeah.
who can sift through mountains of evidence and find those those most likely suspects.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And once a target has been identified, AI can also assist with lead optimization.
Okay.
By analyzing the structure and properties of potential drug molecules, AI can predict which ones are most likely to bind effectively to the target and have the desired therapeutic effect.
So it's kind of helping researchers narrow down the field and focus on the most promising candidates.
Precisely.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not all. AI can also play a role in predicting those AD-MET properties we discussed earlier.
Right.
By analyzing data from past drug development efforts, AI algorithms can learn to identify patterns that indicate whether a molecule is likely toxic or have poor absorption or metabolism.
So that's incredibly valuable for companies that are trying to, streamline the development process.
Absolutely.
And avoid those expensive late-stage failures.
Yeah, this is where AI's potential for cost savings and reduced development time becomes really significant.
Wow. Yeah, it's really pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But I imagine there are also challenges involved in using AI.
Of course, one of the biggest challenges is the need for high-quality data.
Right.
AI algorithms are only as good as the data they are trained on.
Yeah.
If the data is inaccurate or biased, the results can be missing.
Right. So garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crucial to ensure that the data used to train AI models is carefully curated and validated.
And I imagine it also requires a really unique set of expertise
Oh, yeah.
to really make the most of this technology.
Yeah.
Like, you need people who understand both AI and drug discovery.
Absolutely. It's a highly interdisciplinary field requiring collaboration between computer scientists, data scientists, biologists, chemists, and clinicians.
Yeah, so it's not just about having the most advanced algorithms.
Right.
It's about having the right team of experts who can kind of bridge that gap between the technology and the science.
Precisely.
Yeah. And I guess it's also important to remember that AI is a powerful tool, but it's not a magic bullet.
Right.
It can help us make better decisions.
Yeah.
But it can't replace human judgment and expertise entirely.
Exactly. It's about finding the right balance between human ingenuity and technological power working together to achieve the best outcome.
So it's a collaborative effort
Yeah.
with AI assisting human researchers, not replacing them.
Yes.
Okay. This has been incredibly insightful so far.
Thanks.
I guess thinking about the bigger picture here, what kind of impact do you think all these advancements will have on the pharmaceutical industry as a whole?
That's a good question.
Yeah, like will they actually lead to lower drug price or faster access to new treatment?
Those are important questions, and the answers are still unfolding.
Yeah.
There's definitely optimism that these advancements, particularly in AI and automation,
Yeah.
will lead to more efficient and cost-effective drug development.
So there's hope that the current model with its long timelines and high costs could potentially be disrupted.
Yes, and that could translate into lower drug prices and faster access to innovative treatments for patients.
Wow.
But it's also important to be realistic about the challenges. Drug development is inherently complex and risky, even with the most advanced technology.
Yeah, that's a good reminder that scientific progress takes time,
Yeah.
even in this age of rapid technological advancement. And are there also ethical and regulatory considerations that need to be addressed as these technologies become more sophisticated?
Absolutely. Ensuring patient privacy and data security is paramount, especially as we delve deeper into life.
Right, those are crucial points. It's not just about the science.
Right.
It's about using these advancements responsibly and ethically.
Precisely. It's about finding the right balance between innovation, safety, and accessibility.
Yeah, I think our listeners are now well-equipped to kind of understand this exciting and complex landscape.
Yeah.
They have the knowledge, the insights, and the questions to ask.
I agree. The future of drug discovery is bright.
Yeah.
Especially with the combination of scientific ingenuity and a focus on the ethical.
It's an exciting time to be in this field, that's for sure.
It is.
Okay, well, I think that's a good place to wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
We'll be back soon to continue the discussion.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you then. Yeah, it really is a fascinating frontier, and I'm particularly intrigued by the idea of using AI to personalize drugs.
Oh, wow.
Imagine a future where treatments are tailored to your specific genetic makeup and the unique characteristics of your disease.
Yeah, it's like almost science fiction.
I know, right?
But I guess that's how a lot of breakthroughs start.
Exactly.
There's these ideas that seem kind of impossible.
Yeah.
First.
Right?
Okay, so I guess just to kind of recap where we've been so far.
Sure.
We started with the traditional drug development process,
Right.
which is that long and expensive road.
Yeah, a very long road.
And then we talk about how natural sources, while still important, they've kind of been overshadowed a bit
Right.
by the rise of small molecule synthesis and high throughput screening.
Yeah.
But even with those advances, we're still limited by, the relatively small number of proteins that those small molecules can actually target.
Exactly.
Which I guess is why there's so much excitement around computer-aided drug design. And its potential to really kind of expand that druggable genome, speed up the process, and avoid those costly failures.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, we can't forget about biologics,
Right.
which are making just these incredible strides in targeting those previously undruggable areas.
Yeah, they're really changing what's possible.
Yeah, it's really amazing stuff.
It is.
So with all these different approaches, is there one that kind of stands out to you as like the most promising or?
You know, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
Each approach has its own strengths, and
Right.
the best choice really depends on the specific target.
So it's almost like having a toolbox.
Yeah, like a toolbox.
With, different tools for different jobs.
Exactly.
And researchers just have to figure out which tool is right for the job.
Exactly. And as technology keeps evolving,
Right.
we'll probably see even more innovative tools added to that toolbox.
Right. So it's constantly evolving.
Yeah, always change.
Okay, so speaking of tools, I'm still kind of curious to hear more about how AI is being used specifically
Okay, sure.
in drug discovery.
Yeah.
Like, are there any concrete examples of how it's already making a difference?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
One area where AI is already proving invaluable is in target identification.
Okay.
So by analyzing massive data sets of, genomic information, clinical trial, data scientific literature, AI algorithms can pinpoint promising targets that traditional methods might miss.
So it's like having this brilliant detective
Yeah, like a detective.
who can sift through mountains of evidence
Right.
and find the most likely suspects.
That's a great analogy.
Okay, cool. And so once a target has been identified,
Mhm.
can AI also help with like lead optimization?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So by analyzing the structure and properties of potential drug molecules, AI can predict which ones are most likely to bind effectively to the target and have the desired therapeutic effect.
So it's helping researchers narrow down the field
Yeah, narrow it down.
and focus on the most promising candidates.
Precise. And that's not all. AI can also play a role in predicting those ADMET properties we discussed earlier.
Right.
By analyzing data from past drug development efforts, AI algorithms can learn to identify patterns that indicate whether a molecule is likely to be toxic or have poor absorption or metabolism.
Right. So that's incredibly valuable for companies
Oh, yeah, for sure.
trying to streamline the development process and avoid those expensive failures.
Absolutely. This is where AI's potential for cost savings and, reduced development time becomes really significant.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
It is pretty.
But I imagine there are also challenges involved in using AI effectively.
Of course.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges is the need for high-quality data.
Right, because,
AI algorithms are only as good as the data they are trained on.
of course, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crucial to ensure that the data used to train AI models are carefully curated and valid.
And I imagine it also requires a pretty unique set of expertise.
Oh, yeah, it does.
To make the most of this technology, like you need people who understand both the AI side and the drug discovery side.
Absolutely. It's a highly interdisciplinary
Yeah.
requiring collaboration between computer scientists, data scientists, biologists, chemists, and clinicians.
Wow. So it's a real team effort.
It really is.
Yeah, and I guess it's also important to remember that AI is a powerful tool, but it's not a magic bullet.
Oh, right. It's not a magic
It can help us make better decisions,
Yeah,
but it can't replace human judgment and expertise entirely.
right. It's about finding the right balance between human ingenuity and technological power working together to achieve the best outcomes.
Yeah, so it's a collaborative effort
Yeah,
with AI assisting human researchers, not replacing them.
that's right.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful.
Oh, thanks.
I guess thinking about the bigger picture here, what kind of impact do you think all these advancements will have on the pharmaceutical industry as a whole?
That's a good question.
Like, will they actually lead to, lower drug prices or faster access to new treatments?
Those are important questions, and, the answers are still unfolding.
Yeah.
But there's definitely optimism that these advancements, particularly in AI and automation,
Yeah.
will lead to more efficient and cost-effective drug development.
So there's hope that the current model with its long timelines and high costs could be disrupted.
Yes, and that could translate into lower drug prices and faster access.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it would.
But it's also important to be realistic
Right.
about the challenges.
Yeah, drug development is inherently complex and risky,
Yeah,
even with the most advanced signals.
right. It's a good reminder that scientific progress takes time,
It does.
even in this age of, rapid technological change.
Yeah.
And are there also ethical and regulatory considerations that need to be addressed
Oh, absolutely.
as these technologies become more sophisticated?
Yeah, ensuring patient privacy and data security is paramount, especially as we delve deeper into personalized.
Right, yeah, those are all crucial points.
They are.
It's not just about about the science. It's about using these advancements responsibly and ethically.
Precisely. It's about finding the right balance between innovation, safety, and accessibility.
Yeah, I think our listeners are now well equipped to understand this complex landscape.
I hope so.
They have the knowledge, the insights, and the questions to ask.
I agree. The future of drug discovery is bright.
Yeah.
Especially with this combination of, scientific ingenuity and a focus on the ethical implications.
Wow, it's really been an incredible journey so far.
Yeah.
Exploring the world of drug discovery from those ancient remedies to incredible potential of AI.
It really shows how much the landscape has changed.
Yeah.
Traditional methods are still important,
Yeah.
but this new wave of innovation is really pushing the boundary.
Yeah, for our listeners out there, in pharma and biotech and the VC world, and this is a time of enormous opportunity.
Absolutely. But it's not just about, chasing the latest trends. It's about understanding the nuances of each approach.
Yeah.
The challenges, the potential, and how it all fits into the big picture of drug development.
Yeah, you really need that solid understanding to make informed decisions.
Exactly. And that brings me to a final thought for our listeners.
Okay.
We've talked about AI and its power to personalize drug design.
Right.
But what would that world actually look like?
Yeah.
What would it mean for patients and doctors and the entire healthcare system?
Yeah, it's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
A world of personalized medicine,
Right.
tailored to your, individual needs and genetic makeup.
Exactly.
Sounds both exciting and a little daunting.
It does. And it's a conversation we need to have as these technologies advance.
For sure.
The goal is to develop treatments that are not only effective,
Yeah.
but also accessible and equitable for everyone.
Well said.
Mm.
Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive into drug discovery.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.
See you then. It's